All right, here I am, live on the internet, I believe. Hopefully, people will start rolling in. We'll see. I don't really have anything, guys. I'm just waiting on you guys to show up. Oh, crap. Oh. Power, 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 power. Don't want to lose power. Power, power. All right, that's all set up. If anybody's here, just say hello. Let me know you're here. This is mostly a general check-in, so I don't really have a lot right now to say. Monica, I'm in your neighborhood, actually. I am totally in Denver, Colorado. Well, I'm in the area of Denver. I think this is technically Littleton. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, everybody. I'm seeing all the hellos. Yay! People are here. Hi, everybody. So, hello, everybody. Thank you for jumping onto this live. I don't have a lot to say. I'm sort of at a layover point. Tomorrow, I'm gonna head out and do some camping. Um, so I was like, I don't know what my internet situation is gonna be. So let me just like real time check in with people because my videos are like my video like backed up schedule is like so far behind where I am in real time right now. It's like crazy. But in order to actually get to the point of getting where I'm going, I feel like I need to do all the steps in the story. And so like I can't really jump forward in time. I'm gonna roll those videos out in the order that they happened, I guess. So yeah. I'm just glancing at the comments. Hello to everybody who's jumping in. I don't know if I'm coming through Colorado Springs, and that's just because I've been in Colorado much longer than intended. And so I just, at this point, I want to make sure I get into Baltimore by September. Like, I just don't want to take too much longer. So I'm going to take a couple days for myself not in the city. And then I think I'm just going to be pushing hard to get into Baltimore because I kind of need to get there and get that over with. Because I feel like my life can't move forward until I get to Baltimore and sort of take care of my business there. And also, like, I've started talking to some people out in that area, like over the phone and stuff, and letting them know how close I am, and I kind of just want to get there and connect with them. And I feel like that needs to happen before I can like sort of take other steps to just do exploring. There was so much exploring I wanted to do that I never got to, which makes me sad. Like I could have stayed a lot of places longer than I was there. um, I'm glancing back a little bit here. Do, do, do. Hello from Montreal, Canada. You need to get Canada to open the border, man. I'm really upset about that. Thank you for the congratulations on the weight loss, Tammy. Um, Nina, Arizona. Haven't been back there for a while. Kim, I hope you're doing okay in Napa with all that's going on with the air quality stuff. Joseph in Florida. I still have not been to Florida. That's like on my list of places like I haven't been there, so I need to go there. I see Houston. I see Bay Area. Where else are people checking in from? Kathleen says, "What, you can't time travel? I wish I could time travel." New Hampshire. Uh, this isn't actually a do-rag. It's one of those goiter things that you put over your face. And I just pulled it up over my hair to get my hair out of my face. So that's actually what it is. It's actually open on the bottom, because usually you'd have it like pulled down here and you'd have that little goiter thing going on. Let's drop it back there so that it looks more like an intentional like hairpiece. All right. I'm looking at comments, y'all. That's why I'm not really talking. It's too hot in Florida now. Stay where you at. I'm not planning to like actively head to Florida right now. You know what? I've had some people worry. They're like, you do realize it's going to be getting on to winter probably before you're turning around and coming back to California. And honestly, it's been so hot. The last thing I'm afraid of is it cooling down. Like, I will be celebrating when it cools down. And every time I'm like, okay, when I move on some more, it'll cool down, and then it gets a little bit better. But then, like, it's still hot. Like it's like hot on top of hot with like more hot. And some places are less hot than others, but like what's coming next is like it's fall. It's not like the dead of winter. Oh, Sean, thank you for the $2 super chat. So much appreciated. And thank you for the congratulations on the weight loss. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it cooling down. Like, to me, the most ideal van weather is spring and fall. You don't want either of the extremes. Like, if it's hot, you're in a metal box, and cold is cold. Like, it's uncomfortable. You need heaters. But to me, like, heating up a van is way easier than cooling it down. And I still stick by that. Now, mind you, I haven't been in like really crazy, insane cold temperatures, but heating up a van to me is way easier than cooling it down. So yeah, and it's been like hot most of the time. And sometimes you're just not motivated to do things because it's hot. So it's like, I just need to like lay in front of the fan until it cools down some. I missed a lot of the chat, so I'm just gonna scan real quick. Hey Dawn, will you please marry me now before you lose weight and get super? Are you saying I'm not super hot now, poker addict? Kathleen says hot further east of Colorado will cool down this weekend. I had some really good breezes yesterday. Like, there were some really nice breezes coming through. And the funny thing is, not funny, but the interesting thing was when I crossed over the border into Colorado, like, a lot of my videos about Nevada were still coming out. So people were warning me about the fires in California, but actually what I was closer to were the fires in Colorado. Like, so it was a really crazy like timeline thing because of posting and what was actually going on and where I actually was at that point. So it was like, I'm nowhere near the California fires, but Colorado happens to be on fire as well, which isn't funny at all, but it meant I had to navigate sort of a different way. When I came into Grand Junction and then had to head up towards the Denver area. And I had to get to the Denver area because I had some mail coming in to a post office there. So like, it was just my paper mail that I was catching up with. Please don't send packages if you don't have to, but if there are any packages at the California mailbox, they're just there because basically I would have to pay postage on them again to get them forwarded to me. So the only thing I got forwarded was my paper mail because gas costs money. And right now I'm trying to like preserve that gas money. So depending on how long the window is, if there's something there that's a package, I probably am not even going to try to forward it to me until later, if I even try at all and don't just wait to come back to California to get it. So that's my deal with packages. So I'm gonna focus on it. I'm probably going, once I get to Baltimore and I have a friend's address I can send it to, I'll probably send some paper mail again. But that's basically how I'm handling my mail situation, just to make sure I'm not missing anything as best I can. But I had to come to Denver to wait on that and a couple of other things. I needed just like a base for like some time so that I could kind of get those things to me. And so I took care of that. And so like I've been basically just bumping around the city, you know, that's it. Just been bumping around the city for a bit, which makes me sad because like I haven't seen anything in Denver that's unique to Denver. It's just been like shopping centers, regular city streets, some really nice local parks, but still nothing like unique to like Denver or Colorado as a whole. And I really don't want to leave Colorado having not seen something that's like unique to Colorado. And so that's why I don't want to rush out tomorrow. I want to spend a couple days, you know, going out to like actually see Colorado while I'm here, and then I'm going to be booking it. So so yeah. Noise, Florida. Thank you for the compliment on my positive attitude and smile. I try. B America says you have to go through Georgia to get to Florida, and I better see you. That's actually, well, I don't know if you're in Atlanta, but Atlanta is also on my list of places that I want to visit at some point. It's definitely not going to be on the way there because, like I said, after this, I'm probably going to be booking it just because I'm getting so close to September and I don't want to pay for another month. I just got finished paying, I just paid for all of September, just because there's bigger stuff like the bed. Like I don't know what I'm gonna have to throw away and what I'm gonna have to give away depending on the timeline. But I went ahead and paid for September for the storage unit, and I just want to get there and get that cleaned out and not have to worry about it anymore. So definitely, like, once I've had my little like tourist couple of days in Colorado, like I am just booking it. But Georgia's on my list. A lot of the South is on my list because like I haven't been down there. There's some I want to go back and spend more time here that I countered on the road here. Definitely. But yeah. Julie says, Chrome's in Toronto right now. He'll be there for a few more weeks. He's not going to be too far from Maryland. Julie, the border is closed except for business reasons. You unfortunately, and like I've heard like Americans who've tried to cross through saying they were trying to get to Alaska, if they waste too much time, they can get fined and get in all kinds of trouble. So crossing the border right now without a legitimate business reason that you can justify at the border is just not going to happen. Right now, the border is closed and they've extended the closing through September. So we'll see where the world is in September. Because yes, I'm a fan of Chrome, but I'm also a fan of Canada. And I would love to just go through Canada and see some of the sights of Canada. Like I tried to go to college in Canada. I failed, but like I've always wanted to see Canada. I'm less concerned about Mexico. I don't know why. I'm just less concerned about Mexico, but I've always wanted to go through Canada. So yeah, and so that's Canada's out of the question right now. The border is closed. If you can justify like the business purposes or as an American, you are trying to get back to Alaska or get to Alaska for legitimate reasons, but they are watching that people are getting fined and getting in trouble. So there will be no border crossing into Canada until that situation has changed. Just to cover that. Tiffany, thank you for the congrats on my fitness journey. James Sherman, I'm here in Houston waiting for storms tonight. Don't think it will be too bad here. I don't know that I want a thunderstorm, but if it rained right now, I'd be outside. I'd be so happy. Like I'd be happy to see some rain. I don't know that I want like thunderstorms and like lightning and all that, but I'd be happy for some rain. Isabel says, I love your smile and who you are and that nothing stops you. Go girl. Thank you, Isabel. Misadventures. I'm heading back from Nebraska. Oh, okay. Dave Van says, keep tabs on the hurricane. It might turn north. I will do that. Thank you for the heads up. Poker Addict says, I hate hot weather, especially above 100 degrees. Yes. Like there's a warm is nice. Hot is torture. Like warm is wonderful. Hot is torture. And people don't tend to make that distinguishing sort of line. They think, oh, I want to be somewhere where it's all like hot all the time. No, you don't. You want it to be warm. And there's a distinct difference between like warm and hot. Warm means you can just kind of casually be without thinking about it too much. So yeah. Misadventure, thank you. It says your face is thinning out. You look marvelous. B America says Georgia's humidity is horrible right now. A lot of places just don't seem to be going well through this this particular summer. Thank you, Stone86, for saying I look like a baller with my blue do-rag, which is actually just like one of those mask things that usually people have over their face. Let me see. Be America, the storms coming off in the Gulf of in Texas and Louisiana are turning east. Yeah, I need to really just spend some time like looking at weather in the direction I'm traveling. And I think that's something new to me because in California, honestly, there's variations, but there's like, you know, the worst thing you're going to get is an earthquake, which to people who aren't like familiar with them, like it can be really scary to go through your first one and have the earth shake, even if it's not like that bad to like a Californian. I don't know where I sit. Sometimes when I like don't know stuff, I'll still claim I just got here, even though I've been in California like 3 years. I'll be like, yeah, I don't know, I just got here. I'm from Maryland. Like I pull that card all the time. But in general, like I do. That's something I've never had to do because I've never done sort of a travel like this sort of across so many states over an extended time period. Like I'm not used to thinking, okay, where am I going next? What sort of weather situations are happening sort of on that larger global scale? Not even global, but national scale. Like, you know, if I'm going towards the East Coast and sort of how is weather affecting the East Coast? So that's sort of been a learning experience to say, oh, Dawn, you need to be aware of this. Like you can't just, it's not the smartest to just drive and wing it when you're traveling into like new you know stratospheres. Like if you're always in your hometown or nearby to it, or even kind of on the same coast, like you're kind of near that local weather in a different way than when you're traveling. And that's something I personally haven't experienced before. Like I have heard other people talk about it, but I wasn't paying attention. Like until I was in it myself. And it's like, oh yeah, Dawn, you need to be aware of like if there's a system moving in the direction you're moving. And it's just something I've never had to think about before. But that's what this journey is for, is sort of the learn as you go. Woo. All right, I'm gonna try to scan real quick. Oh my gosh, did I miss a super chat? There's a super chat in here. Sam, thank you for the $6.99 super chat. Sometimes when I'm talking, I just miss stuff. But thank you for the super chat. The $6.99. It will definitely help with the gas tank. Be America bragging about sitting there running the air conditioner. All right. My empty nest says, love seeing your channel grow. I found it around 9,000 and now, yes, I'm up to 14K. That kind of creeped up on me. And like, oh man, it was like, I don't even know how to like handle sort of the growth. like, Yeah, I'm so grateful for it though. It's like I can't believe this many people have become invested in my journey when I always expected to like be a small channel. And then mind you, compared to like channels that are in like the 150s and all that other stuff, like I'm still a small channel, but I always thought like I'll have a couple thousand maybe. And like now it's much bigger than I ever expected. And I'm just still blown away by it. Um CD075, thank you for the $10 super chat. Like it's much appreciated. If you see my head turning, it's because I have the laptop and the phone going right now. Hopefully, so I can not miss as many comments as I do sometimes. Um They can send Amazon here to Tennessee if you come. I the stuff I was waiting for wasn't Amazon. I ordered something shipped to store at Walmart, so I picked it up at the Walmart, but they lost my package, so I had to like call today and I had to make them go track it down because it kept saying delayed, but it was in the store, which was dumb, but whatever. Um, and then I had paper mail that was forwarded from my mailbox. It's not Amazon. I haven't ordered anything from Amazon since like Nevada when I had to replace my water pump. Um, Jay Boogie asked me if I have any advice on parking in downtown areas of a city. Um, Whenever you're in a city, read street signs, read street signs, and read the neighborhood. Like, that's the only advice I can give. Like, if you're in a downtown area, downtown areas are known for like restricted parking. There's hours where you can't park. Sometimes there's hours where it's free. And like the variation from downtown area to downtown area is just going to vary a lot. And really, all you can do is try to make yourself familiar with that area. Now, if you're in there for a quick in and out, like if you're just gonna like crash for a night and you're headed somewhere else, you just need to read the signs. Like, are there any posted signs that say you can't be there overnight? And if you're really insecure about the parking situation, do not park there. Like, I am very comfortable with city parking because I've lived in cities. I've, experienced downtown areas and like little nooks and crannies and different types of neighborhoods and different levels of neighborhood. And so there's certain things that I feel like I can read where I'm like, as long as I can legally park, I'm okay. I'll probably can sleep here for a night. Or maybe even if I need a couple of spots, this could be a neighborhood I cycle back to. But if you're not comfortable with that, if you don't feel comfortable reading a neighborhood or a town or an area you're in, stick with what you know will work, which is like, Walmarts that you have cleared as a safe space, because not every Walmart is a safe space despite what people tell you. Truck stops, the areas where you're like, okay, they are used to people like, being here for a night and leaving in the morning. Like, stick with those first. But otherwise, you just need to read signs. I mean, like, that's the only reading you can take. You said specifically downtown areas. Those are usually the ones that have a lot of clear signs about what you can and can't do. So yeah, that's the best advice I can give. Read the signs. Usually downtown areas are very clear about what they allow and what they don't allow. As far as signage, where it gets tricky is when you're just trying to read a neighborhood. Like if it's a suburban like neighborhood where like everybody has a driveway, and if somebody's parked on the street, it's probably by choice. You don't want to be on that street. Like those people probably very clear on whose cars belong to who and even whose visitors belong to who. But if you're like in an area, sometimes by apartment complexes, but sometimes you can just find regular blocks with houses on it where everybody has the park on the street. So the parkings are ready tight. They're used to people who might have to park a couple of blocks from their house. Like that's a different type of neighborhood. You can usually squeeze in there as long as you can fit. So it becomes a lot of like just looking for signage that says, can I park here or not? I don't think it's probably not the smartest advice, but I never think, can I sleep here or not? I think, can I legally park here overnight? Like, is there any displayed signage that says if I can or can't park here overnight? And I always jump off of that. There's probably been a lot of comments since I've been running my mouth um, because yeah. um, have you ever been to Modesto, California? I feel like I've been through it. I have never gone intentionally to Modesto, but I feel like I've like been through it, near it, or something like that. But I've never like been like, oh, I'm going to Modesto. um, Ray Ray says, how is that Colorado weed? I don't smoke. I know that makes me uncool. I really don't. Like, it's just not my thing. I've had weed before. But it's just yeah, I don't smoke it. Like, I'm like this naturally. I really don't need it. And so I didn't really have a good experience with weed, and I just don't smoke it. Nothing against the people who do. I'm totally friendly to the to people smoking it, but I just don't. It's just not for me. Um, Dylan asks, are you going to meet up with any van lifers we know? I don't have anything planned at this point. I mean, like, yeah, I just don't have anything planned. So yeah. Do you know what route you may take when you are done with the East Coast? I have no idea. My mission is to get to the Baltimore area, the Baltimore DC metro area. That's it. That's like the end of my goal. I mean, even leaving California, I didn't really plan that far ahead. I was like, you need to leave California, go to Nevada. So I went to Nevada. And then I was in Nevada and I did what I was going to do. And I was like, okay, what's beside Nevada? Utah. What's in Utah that might be pretty to look at? Let's go towards that. And then I was in Utah. And then it was, from there, it was fairly obvious. Like, the next state beside it was Colorado. It's only gotten like really questionable since I got to Colorado, because like there's two choices. You can go through Nebraska or you can go through Kansas. And I believe Kansas is the more direct route, but I didn't really have any of this like super planned. I was just like, all right, I'm going to leave California and go to the East Coast. I didn't have a timeline. I didn't have a date I wanted to be there by. I made no promises to anyone about when I would arrive. I was just like, I'm going to leave California and I'm going to head east. That was it. That was my entire plan. And so my plan coming back is I'll do something different than I did getting to the East Coast in the first place. And especially with COVID right now, there's so many things that could change in a month or not change at all. Like, if the Canada border is open on my way back, that might change the situation. If the Canada border is closed, that might change the situation. So yeah, so like I don't really have any sort of planned routing like that, I guess. And a lot of things, like, I am traveling during COVID, and it's an interesting time to travel. I don't want to accidentally create any large meetups. And yeah. Dawn, camp next to the Colorado River. I don't know how you do that. I don't know. Every time I've been near a body of water, it looked very restricted about how you could get near it or touch it or like actually be anywhere near it. Like, this magical situation where people seem to like drive up and be able to park on or near rivers or any sort of, or lakes or any sort of body of water. Like, it hasn't happened to me yet. Like, my campsite situations have been fun. Some have been prettier than other situations, but I wouldn't say I've had that epic spot yet. Like, I haven't hit a spot where I was like, oh man, that was epic, man. I can't believe, I was so blown away by that. I mean, the whole idea that there's these like roads you can drive down and just like plop your van there for like 2 weeks. I've never stayed anywhere 2 weeks, mostly because around day 3, I'm ready to go. I think 2 days is my limit to like be in a spot. Like, I don't think I could ever do the whole 2-week stay thing. Maybe I will down the road. But I've never been like blown away by the epicness of what I found by like turning down a dirt road or anything like that. And maybe I just haven't learned how to explore yet. I've found beautiful places. I found beautiful places in cities. I found beautiful places outside of cities. I've seen beautiful things during a drive, but not something where I could like get off the road and really like be in it, if that makes any sense. So I'm still like navigating like what that is, how people do that, yeah. um Tina, thanks for those tips on downtown parking. Those are like some good tips. Galen says, good to catch your live. How's your road trip going? I hope well, be safe. I mean, like, it's been great. I mean, like, I don't know that it's like the most exciting trip that ever happened to a van lifer, but like, I'm having fun. And it's really cool just to be able to do this, like to be able to just like go back towards home and also see a lot of places that I've never seen before, because I haven't seen most of America. And I'm almost 41 years old. So I've been on the earth about 40 years, not about 40 years, 41 in October. And there's a lot I haven't seen. So like, I'm not gonna lie, driving through Utah was probably the most epic of my drives. And there's so much more I know for a fact I want to go back there and explore. Um, Colorado's just been weird because of like, I knew I had things to take care of. So I had this drive to like get to Denver, wait on my mail, get some things organized. And so like, I haven't really got to experience Colorado as much. And Nevada was just too hot. I was like, I'm sure Nevada's pretty and has pretty places, but it was just too hot. So I was very motivated just to like move on with my life after that. So yeah, I mean, like, it's been going good, but it's been going good in this way I don't feel like it's very uh visual. And that's been the holdup, because now I have this YouTube thing, and the way I'm paying for my gas now is YouTube. Like, YouTube is my only income, like, right now. And it's not a lot of money if I lived in a house, but it'll keep gas in the tank, and it'll, pay the very basic bills that I have right now, which is like my phone and my insurance and all that. So like, that's the only thing I'm living off right now. And that's scary. But it's also like a privilege, there are people who can't say that. And like, I've reached a point where I can be like, okay, what I'm getting from YouTube will get me across the country and back. It's not going to make me rich anytime soon, but it should get me across the country and back with, without my whole financial situation folding. And so like, that's been like great to even feel like I have the privilege of that happening. And yeah, so that part's been amazing, just to have the freedom to go, which I haven't had for 2 years of van life almost. So yeah. Colorado Springs is a place to go. It's beautiful there. All right, you guys might be changing my mind. I wasn't going to divert myself too much. I was just going to barrel out of here pretty soon. Okay. Do you have to quarantine every time you travel living in a van? Tammy, I'm by myself. Like, like, I'm doing the exact thing I would do in California. I'm living by myself in this van. The only interactions I really have is when I go to the store to get water or like food, all the stuff I would have to do if I never left California. Like, so like, I'm not around people, like I'm not interacting with people, like I'm by myself in my house. My house just has wheels and it's moving, so I would still be going into stores. I would, there's nothing I'm doing like right now I would not be doing if I was still in California. The only thing was I took my wheels and had them like move. Like, I'm not interacting with groups of people. I'm not like, like, I feel very comfortable in what I'm doing, mostly because like I'm not interacting with it. I'm by myself like all of the time. Like, I talked to my friend on the phone the other day. I'm like, I've had a couple of video chats, like, one-on-ones with people I know in real life, but like my life is a quarantine. So yeah, I don't feel like I need to make this intentional like cutoff point when like I'm always by myself in my house anyway, except when I go to like a park or like a store, and even then like I'm pretty distant from people. So yeah, quarantine, I'm always quarantined in the way, like I'm by myself in a van. um uh how long are you here in Denver? I'm probably going to be in the Denver area a couple of more days, basically. um Stay safe from the storm is supposed to turn and go through Jackson, Mississippi, then east. I'm going to do a good weather check this evening. So thank you for all the reminders about that. Um, Friday we are getting rain here in Denver. As long as it's not a thunderstorm, bring the rain. Be America, thank you for the reminder about hitting the thumbs up. Uh do, 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 do. Sorry, friends. I'm like scrolling through some of the things here. I am trying to catch up here. Tracy says I was with you in the beginning in your car at a park cooking on the picnic table. Yes, I remember that, Tracy. Wow, you've been here like since the early days. Um, Isabel asked me, do I have any van life friends? Yes. Um, Not a lot, to be honest. But yes, I could probably count them on. I am an introvert. So van life, non-van life, house life, my interpersonal circles are always small. Just because I'm an introvert. So like I'm genuinely okay being by myself a lot. Um and so I've never had like big crowds of like friends. So like that's just natural to who I am, is like I keep my circle small. There's nobody I talk to every day, even some of my best friends. Like I'm an introvert. I'm very good at like operating in my own space and sort of like being with me. And maybe that comes from being an only child for as long as I was an only child. Eventually, my mom adopted some kids through foster care because she was a foster to adopt, but they were so much younger than me. By the time she adopted some kids, that like I spent a lot of my childhood as an only child. And so I spent a lot of time like knowing how to like entertain myself. And like being an only child doesn't mean you're going to end up an introvert, but I think like I'm just naturally very introverted. um so yeah. uh Michelle says you were one of my fave van channels. Thank you very much. um Pocratic says I'm gonna hook you up later. Hey, take care of you. Like take care of you first. Like I'm so touched when people like want to like share with me, but also take care of yourselves first. I know this is a for some people this is a really challenging like time. But yeah. Mitt said, I may have missed it, but how long will you be gone? I have no idea how long I'll be gone. I have no reason to rush anywhere and no reason to rush back. So whenever I plan to be back in California before what I call true winter, not fall. If I'm still like having some fun until fall, until like it really starts to hit like that winter point, I'm okay with that. So I don't know how long I'll be gone, to be honest. My mailing address is still the same. But as I said earlier in the chat, if packages end up at that mailing address and I have to forward them to myself, like with my paper mail, they just put it all in a large envelope and then I pay the postage and they forward it to whatever address I give them, which could be like a post office general delivery address. It could be a friend's address. It could be whatever. And that's not too terrible. But if a package gets sent there and then I have to get it forwarded to me at another address, I'm basically going to pay shipping on that package again. So that's my situation with mail, which is why I'm like, my preferred situation is just to stick with paper mail and hopefully not have to like have them be like, hey, you got like a bunch of packages here, you need to like rush back and take care of it type thing. Anything where I'm getting stuff myself, I'm finding a way to like send it like ahead of me if I have to. So I'm like, if I'm going in the direction of X state, is there a way for like it to land sort of ahead of me and then I just catch up to it? And then once I get into Baltimore, I might like call in a couple of favors just to get stuff forwarded to me. So that's my mailing situation. That's what you do when you travel. You figure out how to get stuff to you, or you just accept that it's going to sit there until you get back to it. I mean, that's the only way to really handle it. Do you have any talents, like a hobby during your van life? I've seen other van life videos of people who paint on the road or play an instrument. I'm just curious. Well, first of all, I consider editing a hobby. And I know I don't have the bestest editing ever. It's certainly improved since I started my channel. So that's a thing. I like to read, and I haven't had a lot of time for it, but I'm also like a fiction writer. I've never been published. And right now it's like I have all this other stuff going on. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I have talents. I just don't know how to bottle them and say, this is what I do. But I love, like, right now, like, I'm listening to audiobooks a lot of the time, and I also like to read books. So that's a lot of my downtime. But like, also, like, I'm learning how to fly my drone. I'm still not that good at it. And like, I haven't had a lot of good opportunities to fly it. And so like, that's something I'm still like figuring out how to do. I don't know that I'm ever going to be like that good at it. At first I was like, I might be able to turn this into a career. And now I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can get some nice-ish footage every once in a while, but I'm not really getting that much better at this thing. But I also haven't had a lot of time to practice because like I'm driving so much right now. And before this, before COVID happened, I was doing theater. So I had like long days of commitment. So I had a day job. I was going to my job and then I was coming home. My home just happened to be a minivan that I was living out of. And before that, it was a car I was living out of. So I haven't really had that experience of like, okay, I'm living in a van with all this free time. Like, I have nothing against the people who have been lucky enough to have that as their van life experience. But my van life experience was, this is a cheaper cost of living. And so I'm living in a van. So I went to my day job and then I went home at night, made me some dinner and went to bed. That was just in a van instead of an apartment. Like, that was the only thing. So I haven't had a lot of like this dawdle time where I'm just out in this open space with like nothing to do but think about like what I want to do with my own time. And I think I'm evolving into that place, which isn't really an answer to your question, but that's the closest I can get. I'm like really behind comments, aren't I? Sam asked me, have you ever had anyone knock on your door and ask you to move? Yes. Twice at a Walmart and twice at a shopping center in Concord. Never on the street. Like, people act like the street parking is the scariest thing. I always pay attention. I pick my parking spots carefully. I have never been and it's never been the cops. It's always been like security or some patrol that was like, hey, I'm sorry, but you can't sleep here. And I'm like, okay. I jump in my driver's seat and I drive and I go, do something else. But like, that's it. Like, I don't park directly in front of people's doors. Now, across the street from somebody's door is not the same as being like in front of their door. I never park in front of people's doors. I never park in spots that I feel like should be favorsome to people who actually live in that neighborhood. Like, I'm always looking for that oddball spot, or like, it's so late. Anybody who lives in that neighborhood is probably in bed anyway, so nobody should be rolling in late trying to like claim this weird little spot on the side of their fence area, and I'm going to be gone in the morning anyway. But I've never had cops come to me on the street and say like, boom, 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 what are you doing in there? And that's the thing about parking lots, even ones that you think are like safe, is that's somebody's private property. So they're ever saying there's some cars I don't recognize, but it's probably fine. Or they're like, we've had problems in the past. We can't have people like overnight camping here. And people are more likely to tell you, in my opinion, people are more likely to tell you to leave a parking lot than like crowded street parking. But that's just been my experience. Other people may have felt differently, but I have not had a knock on the street parking. I have had knocks in parking lots because something happened in the past where they were like, we can't allow this to be. And in one situation, it was a lot that I'd slept in before. One of the Walmart situations, I'd gotten a knock, and it was an iOverlander. And that's the thing, iOverlander, just the side whatever, is a great app. Like, if anybody has that app, it's a great app. iOverlander is great for finding parking in neighborhoods and areas that you are unaware of. But the bad thing about iOverlander is people will use it, as a safety, and they're like, okay, well, somebody else got away with this on iOverlander. Oh, somebody else got away with this on iOverlander. And at some point, the wrong people are now congregating to that spot, and that spot where they used to be like, okay, it's just a couple of vans, I don't care, turns into, we've had some sort of situation that, was bad, and now we're kicking everybody out. And so, like, that's the thing about apps. The bad thing about apps that give you safe spots is everybody has access to that, including people who may make it bad for other van lifers who did nothing wrong and otherwise would have been ignored. So that's sort of the complication with that. Again, another long, complicated answer to, yes, I've gotten a knock. It's been in parking lots. It's never happened on the street, and it's never been cops. It's always been like a security guy who's like, sorry to tell you, you can't sleep here. And it's never been violent. It's never been bad. It's never been confrontational. It's been inconvenient. And in almost 2 years, it hasn't happened enough that I even feel mildly problematic about this lifestyle. Explain to me, an old lady not too savvy with the super chat and the Cash App. I want you to get all the money, not part. Well, here's the thing. Anything that's an app needs to profit. Apps are companies. Cash App is probably, I know a lot of people like Cash App because they don't get charged by Cash App. And also, I don't know, because I haven't used Cash App enough. People just started asking me for Cash App. So I finally like, okay, what is a Cash App? I am not the most tech savvy person. Like I figure stuff out when like I'm pursued to it, but people are like suddenly talking because Venmo was the thing for a while, and then everybody was like, "What's your Cash App?" And I was like, "What the heck is a Cash App?" And so I resisted even getting one because I'm like, I'm not getting another darn app. There's too many apps on my phone already. I'm not getting an app. But then people on YouTube started asking for it, so then I signed up for it. And as I understand it, as far as like them profiting, it's sort of the least gougy where they're trying to like take the money. The thing about super chats is that money is basically just going to get bundled with whatever I get from ad revenue from YouTube. And they're going to take their cut of what that is. So like I never physically see, like if somebody gives me a $10 super chat, I'll never physically see sort of the breakdown of that $10. I'll just get like, it'll get added to the lump sum that's the ad revenue and now the memberships, and then the super chats. So that's basically how that works. There's definitely means for like getting that breakdown, but like in general, like I never see that broken down as like an individual thing. It just kind of all gets shoved together into this pie that you get from YouTube once a month. So yeah, it's not like an immediate turnover thing, whereas like something like Cash App is. So if you go on Cash App, like immediately, like I would get notified that that money exists and is available for me to put in the gas tank. Because that's what happens to most of the money. It like goes in the gas tank to keep me moving. um, I'm seeing the debates about Nebraska and Kansas and my path sort of after I leave Colorado. Um, Future Imperfect. I'm not really listening to podcasts right now because I'm listening to some books. Um, I'm listening to the Lunar Chronicles right now, and so like that's taking up most of my time. And then there's a radio show I keep up with in the Bay Area. Isabel asked me my favorite place to travel. Um, I really enjoyed Oregon and Utah, but I don't know, like, there's so much more of America I have not seen yet. Like, I've spent most of my van life in California or on the West Coast. So yeah, like of the places I've been so far, Utah and Oregon were my favorite. And Isabel, complicated answer to your question. I moved into a car in August of whatever 2 years ago, 18. So yeah, I moved into a car of August of 18. I was in a car about 3 or 4 months, and then I got a minivan, and that would have been, yeah, because October of 18. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it would be October of 18 was when I moved into the minivan, and I've been living in a van of some sort, now a full-size van, before since October of 18. But I had day jobs. Like I was like, I had jobs. So I was going where work was. It wasn't a lot of like, I'm moving into a van and traveling the country. Like I had a day job. And I feel like there's so much more van life that's that than people who are just free wheel traveling. Like I think there's a lot more RVers who are digital nomads than people who live in vans. Like the actual number of bodies that live in vans, either for financial reasons or whatever, I think is more people who kind of stay in their own areas. It's not a lot of people who are like, that's YouTube van life. It's a lot of people like free will traveling all over the place. But like somebody asked me, do I have any van life friends? Most of the ones I have are like local people who like work and they just live in a van instead of a house. like honestly, there's so much van life that is that, and to watch YouTube, you would think that was the minority and not the majority. And when I say van life, to me, like that's also people who live in box trucks. It's people who live in ambulances. To me, van life isn't just like I live in a van. It's a specific type of lifestyle. Whereas I think there are people who live in vans who live more of what I consider an RV life. There's people who live in RVs who I consider living more of a van life. Because to me, RV life is more about this settled like space that you're allowed to be. Like a lot of bus people, not all, because I know bus people who are more van. It's weird. I have a long, complicated philosophy on what sort of and what tiny house living is and how they all merge and how they're different and how they have these distinct zones. For me, like Bob Wells' channel is called Cheap RV Living, and he lives in a van. Like his whole like, and he prefers vans. Like he's talked about it. Like I don't think he has anything against RVs, but I think like for him personally, like he's a van guy. But he's about like this RV living lifestyle. So yeah, there's a whole philosophy there that I could probably talk about for forever about how I distinguish sort of how I label the different lives. Maddie, hi Maddie. Something better. I would love to see what you were cooking and eating to help with weight loss. What I did to help with weight loss is stop eating junk food and stop drinking soda. And I stopped. There was this laziness built around. I mean, honestly, it's hard to cook in a van. It's harder to cook in a van than it is in a house, especially a non-standing van. And I was in a minivan on top of that. Also, I'm not a cook, so I don't like cooking anyway. Like when I had Weight Watchers, there were people who were like, so like when a new recipe book came out, like they were so excited about it and they were all into their recipes. For me, my diet change has been about the cutting. It's not been about the creating. If that makes any sense, because like it's hot right now. The last thing I want to do is cook, so I will go buy me like a bag salad real quick, because if I buy a bunch of vegetables and I have to cut them up, they're gonna go bad. Like that's what's gonna happen. So I don't really have like this huge like meal plan, I guess. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't really have this huge meal plan built around like weight loss. It's more like I'm not drinking soda anymore. I'm mostly drinking water. I'm preparing food that I get from the grocery store. Now, that's really boring. I can eat brown rice and like beans as my one meal a day, because I'm only really eating like one meal a day at this point. For like 2 months until I'm really sick of it and I'm like, okay, I need to like change this up a bit. Like I don't have these grand like meal plans or meals. Like in the morning I may make my hot tea. I might eat like a whole wheat English muffin or something, and then I might late in the day have like some sort of heavier meal, but I don't really have this like grand breakfast, lunch, dinner meal plan. And so that's why it's like, it's also why it's not very interesting to put in my weekly update videos, unless like the day that I had I sort of went on like a craze fest for zesty what are they called, zesty veggie sticks. Like I bought those and I ate too many of them and I was like, oh, this is a temptation food. I need to take this out of my out of my zone. And I just don't buy it. Like my food philosophy is, these things I've identified as bad and problems for me. These things I've identified as things that I will overeat if I put them in my zone. So I just don't put them in my zone. And it's been about these like voluntary removals more so than like detailed meal plans and counting calories. But like I'll eat the same thing over and over again. Just because like I'm not I noticed that when I did Weight Watchers, some people like the idea of not having variety in their diet like drives them mad. I can eat the same thing every day for a while and it's not that big of a deal to me. Like I eat very boring. I used to have a roommate that joked, if it has flavor, Dawn doesn't like it. And that's because I had this whole list of things that she couldn't believe I didn't like. Like I don't like granola bars with chocolate. Like I just don't. So I'm always on this mission to find like granola bars that don't have chocolate in it. So yeah, that's sort of my philosophy on food. It's more about not running to fast food places because they're easy. Oh crap. All right, so it's 6:00. Wait a minute, I just need to check something real quick. Oh man, my phone. All right, cool. Okay, I'm good. Isabel wishing me a happy early birthday. Yeah, it's super early. I still got like 2 months before I turn 41. Less than 2 months, because it's almost, I guess it's only like 1 month. It's almost the end of August. So wow, where did August go? Now that I've gone on another, like, any question I get, I just go on and on and on. Like, shut up, Dawn. Amanda said, is your income monthly? Is it scary having a budget for that long? Amanda, yes. Since I've been in the situation to just depend on YouTube, it is scary because there are no guarantees with YouTube. I mean, that's the good thing about having the Patreon, because I at least know, I know for sure what Patreon's going to be. I have literally no idea. Like, you have like this tracking on your studio page, but it can fluctuate like all month. And it has to do with a lot of things, like how your engagement changes, and all kinds of stuff that I don't get into, because if I tried to analyze everything about analytics, my brain would explode. So yeah, like, to an extent, what you get from ad revenue is a gamble. Like, you do not know for sure. And I think that's why a lot of YouTubers will start Patreons or other sort of subscription methods, because, like, that's a controlled income and you kind of know what you're going to get. You literally have no idea what you're going to get from ad revenue. And if anything changes internally in YouTube, your channel could perform the exact same and make less or more money the next month. Certain types of YouTubers get more per ad revenue than other types of YouTubers. And there's like a whole like sub thing you can get into there. I'm just like, you know what? If there comes a point where like this doesn't work, I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to go find some other way to make money. And that's always what I've done. Like, I've never had guarantees. So it is a little scary. Especially like, because I'm on such a borderline. I think once you get up to a certain tier, like, it's a little less scary because you still have a sort of a base idea of what you're going to be okay. But yeah, it is scary. Yeah, YouTube is once a month, and otherwise you can just watch like your studio page to kind of see what you're doing. But I've had that thing drop $200 on me in like 24 hours, and so what I thought I was getting is like way less than I thought it was gonna be like a couple of days earlier. So yeah. Dylan, I don't know. Did you say this before? I talked about iOverlander. Yes, I've tried iOverlander. Sam, thank you so much for the $20.99 super chat for the gas tank. I want that border to open. I intend to come to. They can't keep me from Canada once that border opens. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I tried to go to college in Canada. I'm going to say this again, and it didn't work out. So yeah, I talked about iOverlander. Carol, what do you do for an internet connection on the road? My phone. And when it doesn't work, I don't have an internet connection. That's basically what I do. I can hotspot my phone. MJ, I didn't see the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. I was probably talking. Quick ice car reviews. Thank you for the 99-cent super chat. Ugh. One day I'll get better at this whole like YouTube thing. One day, maybe I'll be less lame. I'm just gonna switch this up a bit, see if I can do a little bit better here. Do 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 do. Mm-mm-mm. Sorry, I'm reading. I'm reading. I'm reading. I'm reading. I definitely saw those. I definitely saw those. Um, Tanya X. I don't go on Facebook, Tanya, just because it kind of it stresses me out, and that's just with people I know. So it's definitely not something I want to add to sort of like the YouTube stratosphere. Like I every once in a while go on Facebook to check on a couple of people, and then I go off it, and it's literally every month once in a while. It could be like every 3 months maybe. So yes, I have a Facebook. Um I do not publicly share it. It's mostly like because there's friends and family who I only communicate with because I have that platform still. I've wanted to delete my Facebook for a long time. And I won't because I'm like there's people who I would literally not know how to contact them if I couldn't do it through Facebook. Um Carly says, Carly W, not curious Carly, by the way, says, what is one luxury you sometimes miss? Bathtubs. That's about it. Um, AC sometimes. Like sometimes it's just so hot and miserable. Like I want AC, but I don't want to deal with people. So um I'll just hang out like in my car because I'm like, but at least here this is my space and nobody else's. Um but yeah, probably bathtubs, is the one thing that I really, really miss about like houses. And not every house even has one, but I loved baths. But otherwise, like there's nothing where I'm like, oh, I wish I had that still. Like there's nothing like I've really, really missed. There's stuff I enjoy when I have it, but I don't really miss it. Um Dawn, look for boat ramp access on rivers, usually camping around there. Where do you find boat ramp access? I literally have no idea. Like I'm clueless about this. Um Dawn, since September storage is paid for, ask the locals what's worth looking at. I still need to get to Maryland. I need to get in the storage unit. I need to know what's in there. I need, like, it's not like if I show up the next to last day of September, I can throw everything in my van. No, I need to get rid of that lot of stuff. I need to figure out what's precious, where I'm going to store it, how I'm going to get it back to California, if I'm going to just drag a bunch of extra stuff around in my van. Like, there's a lot of huge decisions that may take a whole month to really like get done. So it doesn't, like, if I wait till late in September to get to Baltimore, I'll have to pay for October, and I don't want to be in that situation. So yeah. Um do 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 do. Uh I'm still figuring this out, guys. Um Sorry guys, sorry guys. Sure guys. Oh my gosh. I keep losing my place, so I'm like trying to scroll through here. I'm really trying to, I'm scanning for questions. So forgive me if I don't comment. Oh my gosh, thank you for the 4.99 super chat. Happy early birthday to me. Um Sorry guys, sorry guys, sorry guys. I'm sure there's questions in here that I have like totally missed. And it's easier to scroll for it on my phone than look on the computer screen, I'm realizing. Actually, the question about luxury. Blah, 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 I'm reading the comments. I mean, if I don't talk about them out loud, I just haven't talked about it. Maddie, Dawn, are you coming through Nashville on your way back? Maybe, number one, because I know you're there and I would love to connect with you, Maddie. So it's in the back of my mind how to make that happen. I'm thinking about it. And I have your email address, so I might drop you a line at some point. Hey, Super Dawn, have you worked out yet today? Yes, I did P90X plyometrics in the park today. Actually, just before I settled in this parking lot to do this live chat. Also heard of trucker path for rest stops. I've never heard of that. Sorry, I'm just mumbling because I saw that comment. Isabel Pointer, I'm an introvert. Doesn't mean I'm shy or hate people, but people energy just drains me quickly, like if I run a marathon. I like that comment because that's what it means to be an introvert. Being an introvert, I can be shy in certain situations. I can have actual anxiety in certain situations, but even around people I like, I need alone time at some point, because being with people, even when it's fun, can become an energy drain. And that's what it means to be an introvert. Like the shy part and even like social anxiety, like those are two different things. And all these things kind of get wrapped up. Sometimes they overlap. Sometimes they exist in the same person in different ways. But yeah, that was a good comment, because it's true. Being an introvert, it doesn't even mean you don't. I love people. Like I like people. When I was in, I forget where, but there was a guy who came up and started talking to me about my van while I was like, oddly enough, I just got finished dumping my toilet in one of the local park toilets. And he just came up and started talking to me, and he was a really nice guy, and it was a really great conversation. But like, I didn't want to stick him in my van and like have him with me all the time. So it's not about like not liking people, but it's like you need your own space to really feel like yourself and sort of recharge. Ryan, do you have a plan to spend an extended amount of time in Baltimore, have friends and family to see, or back on the road as soon as you're done with the storage unit? I sort of see the storage unit situation and connecting with friends and family as overlapping. But again, I've promised people no dates. I've promised people nothing except, yeah, I definitely want to see them when I get there. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to schedule like this amount of time to be 100% invested in this thing. I sort of see those two things as kind of happening together. Like while I'm there, I'm not going to be in the storage unit 24/7. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to figure out what's in there. I'm going to come back another day and like, I might post some stuff on Facebook Marketplace just to try to get rid of it. Like, it's going to be like an overlapping affair. It's not really like two separate things. Because like I said, I don't know sort of how I'm going to completely transition out of the storage unit yet. I'm going to figure it out when I get there. And also when I get there, I'm going to like let people know I'm in town and sort of connect with them as works with the entire situation. So it's not really like two separate events for me. Isabel says, what do you do for doctor's appointments? Do you plan to travel around appointments so you'll be at your home doctor? Isabel, I can answer this question really easily. I don't have a doctor. Like, I don't have like a doctor that I've gone to. I've had a rolling situation with health insurance. In the last 2+ years, I've spent more time without health insurance than with it. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm poor. I'm keeping money in the gas tank and keeping my head above water and keeping my bills paid. And the state health insurance I have right now, which might get taken from me, they might decide again that I'm making like slightly too much money. I might lose pretty quickly and I can't use it unless I'm in California, but I don't have a doctor I've been seeing, to be quite honest. And that's not the ideal way to live, but it's been financially my situation. it is what it is. No, I don't plan it around doctor's appointment. I don't know the last time I saw a doctor. Like, I'm going to be straight up about that. Like, I don't have a doctor. I don't know the last time I saw a doctor. And unless I get like monstrously ill, it's not something I go out of my way to do. I do feel better when I know like I have something that if I at least needed to go see a doctor, that would be resolvable. But it's been a crazy couple of years, and I haven't always had health insurance during those 2 years. So, and I have something now. I don't know how long I'll have it, depending on what decision they make. But I have to be in California to use it, and I also needed to make this trip and take care of the storage unit, so I just went. It's not the right thing to do, but it's just how I've lived the past couple of years. Like, if something happens, I'll just take the day as it goes. So the answer is no, I don't plan it around appointments because I don't have a doctor. Nat Marcy, hopefully I said your name right. I do want to see Red Rocks Amphitheater. I know for a fact that's near where I am. Like, I have a plan to not leave here without at least taking some time for Red Rocks Amphitheater. So that is the plan. The only debate I was having about going, I was just having a debate about Colorado Springs or not. Isabella, I've not named the van because I never name my vehicles. So I think even if I gave it a name, I'd never use it, and it would just be for YouTube. Like, it's not something I do. John asked me, did I get my idea from Chrome? No. I absolutely adore Chrome. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Another one I really, really liked, but I don't get connected to as much, is Nate from Element Vanlife. And I just love that he's rocked sort of that tiny van life, like truly like long term. And I like really love Nate's videos and his editing style. So I do like Chrome's videos, but I would have done this Chrome or no Chrome. What I like about Chrome is a lot of his philosophies match mine. I don't think we're alike at all. Like that dude's just cool, and I don't consider myself cool. And he has like style. Like, even when his van had nothing in it, that thing looks stylish, and I feel like my van always looks like 5 seconds away from looking like a bum's van. So yeah. Isabel, what was your scariest moment? My scariest moment is always if something breaks on the van and I don't have enough money for it. I don't really have like fears related to like parking or being alone. I just don't. Like, I wish I did. But I've never really had those. Like, I'm cautious, and there are times where I'm like, I don't think this is a good place to stay, and I'm willing to drive like a couple of extra hours to be someplace where I feel more comfortable. But I don't really consider that scary. I think that's just like trusting your instincts. But like, the thing that always scares me more than anything, because I travel alone, and because of what I consider limited mechanical skills, is always something breaking on the van and me not having enough money to take care of it. I fear that more than something breaking on me. like, something breaking on the van scares me more than something breaking on me. Because I feel like if something breaks on me, somehow I can use the van to save myself, which may not always be true. But I don't say that that's logical. That's just the way my brain works, because it's illogical sometimes. Superfly Lady 75, you said, but all those experiences were in your minivan or car. Do you think it will be different in your conversion van? I don't know what experiences you're talking about, so I can't reply to that. I can only say one of the Walmarts I was kicked out of was in this van. I don't know. I've street parked in this van. I've literally changed nothing about how I park in this van or how I live in a van in this van. It's just a bigger van. So I don't know what specific experience you're talking about, but honestly, like nothing massive has changed about my experience in this van. Isabel, as far as like fixing my van, I feel like I already addressed that. I feel like I have limited mechanical skills. There's some small things I can handle, but I always feel like the engine's gonna blow up one day and I'm not gonna be able to fix it. It's probably not gonna blow up, but there could be something mechanical that happens that I don't know how to fix or even know what's wrong. Uh, uh, Ellen Summers says, "Is there an address in Maryland that we could send you gas cards?" I think the preferred way to do it, honestly, would be digitally, like PayPal or Cash App or something like that. I know people in Maryland with addresses, but I don't want to be giving out their address as a place to send gas cards. Um, so the complicated answer is no, because it's just better not for me to depend on any particular address as sort of people send mail here. I just feel like that would be rude. It's one thing to be like, hey, I have this one thing, I just need to use your address real quick, can I use it? I think like that's more the way I'm gonna approach it. For anybody who wants to know my Cash App or PayPal, it should be in the description of the video. So, when you're looking on the video, there's usually like a little arrow. It depends on your device, if you're on a computer, whatever, but there's a description of the video, and I have a whole bunch of links down in there, including Cash App and PayPal if you want to use those methods. I'm scanning and try to make sure like I'm finding the questions. Do you have a van life bucket list of places to go? Dylan asked me that. Dylan, the thing is, like, because I've seen so little and I never like imagined me being in a position to travel, I didn't really I'm my goal is to figure out how to camp. At this point, I've never even done a campfire. Like, I'm like, I get to these places that have like these fire pits, and I'm like, I literally have no idea how to make a campfire. And because I don't really have anybody around to teach me, I get scared because I don't want to like cause a fire because fire's dangerous. So like I won't fool with it. And it's only at those times like I'm really like, I wish for camping specifically, like I had people to go like camping with. Not in this particular situation because I'm going like, where I'm going, got to take care of stuff. But at some point to sort of have that sort of this plan to like experience camping with other people who know what the heck they're doing. And not in like, if you're passing through, drop by, I'll show you, like more like we were planning on November 15th to gather as a group and like do a thing. So that's sort of like more, I think, would be like a teachable moment for me. Right now I'm just like showing up in places and I'm like, I'm not starting a fire. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah. You should make a video of Bob Wells cheap RV living. Bob already did a video with me. I'm not that interconnected with him that I can like, I don't know Bob that well. I like met him 3 times, I think. So twice at WRTR 2019 we maybe had a conversation, and then he did a van tour with my minivan in like one of the super early stages, and it's actually in my playlist of van tours. So most of the videos in that playlist of van tours on my channel where it says playlist is like stuff I shot, but there's two videos that I didn't shoot, and that was the one that Curious Carly did and the one that Bob Wells did. But that's like, even then, like I just showed up. Like he asked who was interested in van tours. I said I was. And so like I showed up and like he filmed the van, but we didn't really have this deep conversation. So I don't really have any sort of interconnectedness with like Bob Wells. I like Bob Wells. I think he's like a nice guy and he's always well-intentioned. And I think because sometimes his introvertism gets to him. Like some people don't like that because they're more like party group people, and he's not really that guy, but he's really interested in helping people. So I like him, but honestly, I don't know him that well. And so like being able to connect with him to do a video just isn't a thing I could like make happen. So the closest I've ever gotten is his van tour he did of my minivan really early into my van life. Shelly Rice, I've said my age is 40. Oh, look, somebody answered you in the scroll. Quick ice car reviews. The thing I talked about was the fact that veggie straw incident was a bad thing. I don't panic about carbs. You know why? Because I lived through the fat is evil phenomenon. And I actually talked to a nutritionist who was like, it seems like every few years we need to make a macronutrient evil. So I guess protein is next on the list. Because there was a point where everything was like low fat and cut the fat and cut the fat and cut the fat. And now everybody doesn't care as much about fat, and they talk about healthy fats and all this stuff. And now everybody hates carbs. And I just find it a little ridiculous. And I think there's a lot of validity in the research that's been done around carbs, but I think this extremism around it is a little much. So it's not like I'm actively, oh my God, carbs are bad, I'm avoiding everyone on the planet. Now I am trying to eat smart, as in like, I'm going to get the whole grain version, because whole grain versions are like usually less processed than like other versions, and you need to make sure it's actually like the whole grain, like not just wheat bread, actually whole wheat bread, because there is a difference. Like I do make that sort of effort. When I even eat bread, I hardly ever eat it anymore, and it's not because I'm avoiding carbs, it's just because what I'm eating right now, it doesn't really need a lot of bread, so I'm not eating a lot of bread, which is crazy because bread is one of my weakness foods, even more so than other things. So like I'm not on the I feel like this blanket carbs are evil thing is a little much. Just like everybody used to be like anti-fat. And that's sort of less a thing these days. So like I'm not on the like, I'm trying to avoid all carbs are evil, blah 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 blah. There are a lot of processed foods that have problematic carbs, but this sort of blanket like carbs are evil sort of phenomenon, I'm sorry, I don't buy into it. I think there's a lot of validity to the research that's been doing around about it, but I also think like it's sometimes taken in this huge blanket fashion that I'm not signing on for me personally. Other people, do what you got to do. Rebuilding Ruin says, I'm not a foodie. I can eat the same salad 5 days a week. Drives my husband nuts. He's like, I'm bored. I'm like, get a hobby, LOL. That is me. Like, I'm like, whatever. It's fine. It's working. It worked yesterday. It works today too. I am not a foodie. I'm not that into food. Like, I'm not. Like, in fact, I once met a girl. This was a long time ago on Okay Cupid, I think it was. And like I knew it wasn't gonna work because she was a foodie. Like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I mean, also like it just wasn't there. Okay, I need to turn on the car and close my window because it is raining. And I just don't want fan is so loud. I just don't want the rain on my computer. that's my only thing. I don't want the rain on my computer. Otherwise, I'd be like, yes, water falling from the sky, come to me. Future Imperfect X, do I get any leg fatigue from driving? Yes, and I am so glad that this car has cruise control. I haven't talked about that. Like, every time I use the cruise control, I'm like, I really want to talk about how wonderful this is on a video, and I haven't, but I love that it has cruise control. Keto Queen Baltimore says, it's a recovering carbaholic. I loved bread. Terry Newell says, you need carbs to live, just less sugary foods, which is the thing I've already cut. Like, I don't really eat a lot of sugary food. Also, for me, I have less of a sweet issue and more of a salty issue, just in a general sense. It's not really hard for me to give up certain sweets. I'm not going to say I have no weaknesses, but I have less weaknesses related to sweets and more of a salty problem. And I've noticed that a lot of people balance out of the salty or sweet. Linda Lawson says, yeah, that would not work. I am a foodie. So I'm not a foodie, like, at all. What are you eating? The same thing I ate yesterday. What are you talking about? It works. I'm not going to change. Okay, now I'm bored. I'll pick something else for the next 3 months. Merp, what have you been eating while on the road? Food. Pretty much the stuff I mentioned earlier. I've been eating like brown rice pretty loyally. For a lot of my like fitness journey, brown rice has been like a go-to base food. Usually, like, I'll put like some easy vegetable or something in there. Sometimes I'll get like tikka masala packets. I guess I pronounced that right now. Just throw it on top of the rice. Like, it's not a lot of huge effort stuff. If I can throw it in a pan and eat it in like 10 to 15 minutes and it takes minimal effort, that is my favorite dinner. Because it's been really hot, there's been times that I've fallen back on either eating bag salads. Well, not even bag salads are pretty standard for me, but yeah, it's really simple stuff. I've only been eating like one major meal a day, and in the morning I'll probably have like either a whole wheat bagel or a whole wheat English muffin, with a little bit of jelly, and then I'll eat like a heavier meal later in the day, and then like throughout the day, like tea, water. Every once in a while, like, I'll get like a Gatorade or something, just because like I'm driving and I'm at like a gas station and I'm using the bathroom, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll grab me a Gatorade. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I have had a couple of ginger ales, and that was once because my stomach was upset, and I was like, okay, so men, sometimes when ladies are having their time, stomach issues can be a part of it. And so, like, I was like, I need a ginger ale. Like, my stomach is not going to settle unless I have a ginger ale. And then the next day I had one casually, and I was like, I just want another ginger ale. I forgot how good a ginger ale tastes. And that was like the most soda I'd had in like months. Keto Queen says, cruise control is the small things in life that bring us joy. Yes, it does. Like, I love cruise control when I can just hit cruise control and just like, you know, chill and just kind of watch the road and make sure we stay steady and, you know, make sure, you know, sort of where we're living around traffic. Like, I love cruise control. It took me a second to like figure out how it worked in this van, but I figured it out. Savory is also my weakness. French fries over cake any day. French fries used to be a go-to for me, man. Like, cause like I don't eat meat either. And so like, that's the thing, is like, you can give up meat and there's still a lot of bad stuff you can eat. I haven't eaten meat in over 20 years, unless you count seafood. I've gone back and forth on being a pescatarian. And pescatarians are basically vegetarian, except they still eat seafood. Just seafood. If you start eating chicken, you're just not in a category anymore. You're just like a light meat eater. But lighting's getting weird as the sun goes down. But like, yeah, French fries, that used to be like what I ate all the time because I wasn't eating burgers. So like I would go to like, I'm just looking for hot food that I don't have to cook. And so like I would go to like a fast food place and get French fries. So I feel you on French fries. I haven't had French fries in like 5 months. And I used to eat them all the time. Linda Lawson says low carb is a good jumpstart, though it will retrain the palate. I feel like my palate's already been retrained, though. Like I didn't have to concentrate on like I am trying to cut carbs. It was like I'm going to cut this bad crap I know I've been eating. Like I was living off of energy drinks and potato chips from 7-Eleven and Taco Bell. And it wasn't a huge jump to say, you need to stop doing that, Dawn. And that changed a lot. Like I don't even think about it anymore. Like it's not even like I'm not far from Burger King is right in front of me. I don't want to go there. Like nothing on that menu is appealing to me. And old Dawn would have been like, well, it'll be faster than cooking for yourself, and you can get some hot food. And so like I would have got one of those really horrible like veggie burgers, which I don't eat those anymore either. They're okay in like small chunks, but like I would go to for that. It's one of the reasons I liked Burger King. And so like I don't even think about that anymore. So I feel like my palate has already revised itself. Like I don't even eat as much bread as I used to. Like I said, at most I'll have like a single bagel in the morning. And I could replace that with something else. In fact, one morning I didn't want that. So the only thing I had for breakfast with my tea was a couple of oranges. So yeah, like I don't feel like I needed to make that conscious choice, as it were. Holly Hackett says, great to catch me on the live stream. Stop putting yourself down. Congrats on the fitness journey. Stay safe, Dawn. I'm doing my best to stay safe. Old Geezer says, I need to have a deep freezer in my van because I cannot go a day without a popsicle. My weakness. Hey, do you? I haven't had like a freezer the longest. The only thing I wish when it was really hot is that I could have had some ice so that I could have put it in my water, because I would have my cold water bottle out the fridge and then I would go to the park to exercise, and like it was so hot, like that water wasn't even room temperature. It was freaking hot, like within 20 minutes of me being outside. And I just wish I had ice, because then you at least get that slow melt. And so if things kind of stay cold as you get that slow melt from the ice. So that kind of sucked. Rebuilding Ruins says, I have discovered dehydrated veggies, boil them with rice and add seasoning. Done, and you get veggies. Make the foodies happy. Stone 86 says, Dawn, have you ever cheated on your minivan in the summer by staying in a motel for AC? No, because I wasn't going to pay for a motel. There was nothing appealing about AC that appealed to me more than not spending the money on a motel. Well, most of the time I didn't have money. Like I was just trying to get through paying my bills, especially because like I had like 4 credit cards I was paying off for a long time. So there was no compromise there. My entire focus was on getting rid of those so that I could live more free. Even when I'm uncomfortable, it's not that bad for me personally. Like I've never felt like I wanted to not be in my house. Like even when I was like in Oregon and I had that free apartment and I was staying there, it always felt weird because I wasn't with all of my things. I was with the amount of things that I had taken into that apartment. And what I like is being in my house with my things. And that's what this van is. So like being a little bit warm or like hot or even slightly, usually everything's going to cool off by night anyway. Like it's a few hours of it being like really extremely hot. which you can solve by like walking around the store, to be honest. I don't like to do that now because I don't want to be tempted to like buy things I shouldn't be eating. And then like it's going to cool off. It's still going to be muggy. It's not going to be perfect, but nothing that makes me go, I don't want to be in my house. Like my van is my house, and I always prefer being in my house. Like for overall comfort, that's where I want to be. I want to be in my house, in my bed, with my things. I don't want to be in a motel because besides the AC and maybe access to a shower, everything else about it is uncomfortable. Like it's not my house and I want to be home. And I would feel that in a motel. So no, I've never felt like I needed to escape the van. I didn't even feel like I needed to escape the car. And there were a couple of times like I stayed with people, but it felt like an invasion. Whereas like at least when I was in my car, it was my space, it was mine, I owned it, I was with all of my things. And there's something about that just appeals to me more than like getting AC overnight and spending that money, which I would have considered a waste of money anyway. So yeah, that's my complicated answer to that. I'm reading. Tanya says I made brown rice, so Maya tastes like eating oatmeal. It's like eating oatmeal. Well, I like oatmeal, but I don't think brown rice tastes like eating oatmeal. Well, I mean, like I can't stand like strawberries, and people find that crazy. I do not like strawberries, like at all. Like there's nothing appealing about the taste, and people find that crazy. So to each their own. Like I actually like oatmeal, but I don't think brown rice tastes like oatmeal. But yeah. My snack of choice is nuts. I like nuts, certain nuts. I don't know that I like every nut. I really like almonds and like cashews. Nuts can be tricky though, because you can overeat those things. Do, 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 do. Rebuilding ruins. I'm really laughing at your bagel message here. Terry Newell says if it wasn't for cruise control, they would have taken my license away years ago. Yay for cruise control keeping your license. Kenyetta says you need a coolest water bottle. Is that like a brand that I should look up? I'm assuming it does like a better job of like keeping things cool. Blah, blah, blah. I'm reading. I hate when I'm quiet for too long. Thank you for everybody congratulating me on my weight loss. I know like 288 pounds is still a very big person, but like to be back in the 200s and like significantly back in it and not in the 300s anymore, like feels good. Even though like honestly, if I'm like I said, if I stay in the 200s honestly, and I'm still exercising every day and eating well to the best of my ability, then guess what, I'm a 200-pound healthy person, and I'll be that until I die. And I don't want to like obsess as it were. Oh, Geezer, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. What time is it? Okay. I gotta check the time, guys. I'm just here to talk to you guys, so I'm just looking at things. Have you thought of making cold oatmeal now that you have a fridge? I don't like cold oatmeal. Like I really don't. I tried it. I was like, no, I need to make it hot in the morning and have it be hot. You're in a better position being in your house and driving with this COVID-19. You shouldn't be going to hotels. I don't want to right now, definitely. Especially not a cheap one. How long have you been single, and does the van life make it harder to date? I'm thinking of getting a van myself. I have been single so long, I don't know what it's like to have a partner. And that was before van life. I've never been the kind of person like girls like. Don't know why. Girls just aren't into me. They love me as a friend, aren't really into me romantically. All I can say is my relationships with people in general, once they got over this weird idea of me living in a van, like those haven't changed. Like, and I wouldn't want to be with someone who saw me as lesser for living in a van, when living in a van, even living in a car, has empowered me, because like I found a lifestyle I could afford and I stuck with it. And then I also found joy and freedom in that lifestyle that made me want to stick with it, even if I had the money to buy a house. And so that's my philosophy on that. For people who have always done well dating, they seem to be fine. That's all I can say about dating in a van. I've never been good at dating. I have had one serious girlfriend a long time ago. We hooked back up for a little while, and then it didn't work out, and that was like years later. And then I had one sort of brief fling, for lack of a better term, and I've done some on and off dating with apps, but I honestly find it so annoying I don't even try anymore. So I'm not looking for anybody as far as like dating goes. I'm like, if somebody naturally comes into my life and they're interested and we click, great, but I'm just not looking and not trying. So I can't really say what dating's like. It's always been bad for me. And most of the girls I've like really, really like liked and gotten into have been like, you're so sweet, you're the most wonderful person, and you're a great friend, and there's somebody out there for you. So I'm the friend. And that's just my fate. So yeah. Cheney Girl says, do you think you and Chrome will ever meet up and do a collaboration? Well, right now the border's closed, but I don't know, maybe. He knows I exist. So all right, I'm probably gonna wrap this up because like it's been like an hour and 45 minutes, and like I didn't really have a plan. I'm like, I'm gonna get on here, I'm gonna try to answer some questions. Jerome Payne, thank you for joining the family. TLB, thank you for the 99-cent super chat. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Geezer already said thank you, Ray. Oh my gosh, these things are disappearing. But I'm probably gonna wrap this up soon. I'm gonna scroll through and see if anybody else has any questions. Last Christmas in Vancouver wasn't really a collab. It was more like I was this weirdo that showed up. And honestly, I had a really hard time stringing two words together in front of Chrome. So the fact that he even remembered who I was long enough to even mention me still like trips me out. Because like it was like, I'm going to meet Chrome. Oh crap, Chrome is like standing right there. I don't know what to say or what to do. I was like, oh. Hi Chrome. No, that was basically how my brain felt. I'm reading. Oh, Teresa. I hope you get to travel in that schoolie someday. Shayla? Hopefully I'm saying it. Shayla Sings. I've looked at the Instapot, but even with the Instapot, you don't get how impatient I am. Like, I am like, when I want food, I want it to put it in a pan and have it in like 10 to 15 minutes. Like that like to have to pre-plan to set up an Instapot, you need sort of a long-term brain for like a slow cooker, and I don't have that type of long-term brain because sometimes honestly I'm like I don't really feel like anything heavy. So if like I'd set up something in the Instapot and it was like a little bit more heavy and I decide all I want is like a sandwich and then I'm going to go to bed, like yeah, I'm not that much of a free. I've had slow cookers like in regular house life and never used them. So like I don't think I'm ever going to be like an Instapot person because it's not really Insta. It's still a version of a slow cooker. um Colleen says, I feel you. I'm straight and I've been single 16 years. Yeah. It's like if it comes, it comes. But at a certain point, like I'm not stressing out about it. Um, SLR, this has come up a couple of times in the chat. I am 40 years old. I will be 41 in October. I was born October the 18th, 1979. The day I was born. Sometime afternoon, my mom told me rest in peace a long time ago, but I didn't forget my time of birth. Sinai Hospital. I'm giving you guys way too much information. Julie, what kind of different places have you been staying at night besides inner city streets while traveling? Well, like I said, I did some boondocking in Utah, a lot of Walmarts, truck stops. I mean, like the general stuff, the street, neighborhoods, truck stops. I always plan my parking just around what I'm doing that day. Like I don't stress out about it. If I'm nowhere near a truck stop, I'm not going to go out of my way to find a truck stop. If I'm nowhere near a Walmart, I'm not going to go out of my way to find a Walmart. If I'm not in a good area for city street parking, I'm not going to stress out about city street parking if there's a better option. So I sort of like I just take the day as it comes. So yeah, it's just all over the place. It depends. uh my Chrome crush is weird though, because it's like obviously I have like no romantic interest in him, like none. It's more like he's just somebody I really admire. I love his editing style. I love what he's done with his channel. Um and so it's more like that. It's just like meeting like your favorite celebrity type crush. It's like when guys have like man crushes, but like they're straight. So it's kind of like um whoo another thing about the Instapot, just because I'm seeing the Instapot things come up, is like I would have to have a place to put it. And right now I couldn't store an Instapot. And right now my stove does everything I need it to do, so I just don't see the purpose in it. It wouldn't like what would it do that like putting my food in a pan won't do, I guess is like my whole thing with the Instapot. Like I just don't I'm not drawn to like needing it, and it would be another thing I have to store. I've had the folding Coleman oven that I got rid of because I didn't use it more than I used it. I had the Road Pro like lunchbox thing, which there was nothing wrong with it except it was always in my way. I didn't have a good place to store it, and I didn't use it more than I used it. And so like right now, I just don't see the point of anything besides my camp stove. Um, because anything I want to make, I can make in a reasonable amount of time on that. So there's just isn't a lot of appeal for me personally, in anything else that cooks food. Like every version of an oven I've created, I've also gotten rid of because I just didn't use it enough. And especially now with the way I'm eating. Do 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 do. Sorry, this isn't going to exciting, guys. I'm just like answering questions and I'm saying I am boring. I suck. I don't know why you guys are watching my channel. I'm obviously a very boring, very weird person. You thought I was in my 20s, Ruth? That makes me feel good. You know what? As much as a lot of people obsess over like the weight loss thing, one of the big stereotypes I've heard about weight is people who weigh more look older than they are. And so it really makes me feel good about the fact that I have lived a pretty um clean life, in the fact that a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them my age. And I'm like, no, I have a birth certificate if you don't believe me. So that's another reason I feel really confident in what I'm doing, is like it was more about stuff I knew was bad that I needed to eliminate. And so I started that elimination process. And then it was also the stuff I like that I know is better for me. I need to be eating more often and stop being so lazy. And I have perfectly reasonable reasons to be lazy. I live in a freaking, van. It's harder to cook in a van than it is in a house. But it still was laziness. It was like, oh, it's easy to go to Burger King. It's easy to go to Taco Bell. It's easy to go to Chipotle and just order and have somebody like give it to me. But it's not the most healthy choice, especially not on a consistent basis. Besides the fact, also, like, money wise, it costs me more. Like, even though McDonald's and Burger King and all this stuff is relatively cheap and it feels very accessible, like, those little bits of money start to build up. So just actually like buying from the supermarket, even though like there's some stuff I'll like get at like even someplace like Whole Foods, which is overpriced as hell, excuse my language, even with that, because it takes me so long to eat stuff that I get from the supermarket, like it's a money saving. So like it feels cheap in the moment, but honestly, like all that fast food was also adding up. Like, you start adding that up to how often you're going there, how often I'm going into 7-Eleven and buying like junk, because there's nothing really good at 7-Eleven. And it does add up to a lot of money loss as well. And it doesn't feel like it in the moment, because in the moment it feels cheap. Whereas like I could go to the supermarket, buy stuff that's gonna last more than one meal. And especially because I'm single and I'm alone and I'm not like eating, 3 meals a day sometimes. Sometimes, like I said, I'm eating very casually, one heavy meal a day, maybe like a bagel in the morning, some tea. Like it takes me forever to get through stuff sometimes. And so it actually turned into money savings to change the way I ate, but it felt cheap in the moment and it felt easy because it's like, oh, I can go spend a couple of bucks, at a fast food place and have food right away. So yeah. Cat Spence, thank you for the 1999 super chat. Stone 86, the reason why I don't always exercise by my van is because sometimes my van is parked somewhere where I can't exercise by my van. Like I have to go into the park. And that's honestly not a bad thing. It's just extra steps. And sometimes I get to really walk around the park and I'm like, oh, this is pretty. Once I'm done, I'll just walk around the park for fun. So it's not really a bad thing. When I can exercise by the van, I do. There's really no hold up to it. And when I can't, like, it forces me to go out away. I think it's good for me to be pushed away from my van sometimes. You know, it's not a bad thing. So I'm not too worried about it. But like, yeah, there's some parking lots where I'm not going to occupy like a whole other space just to exercise by my van. Because I consider it weird. It's uncomfortable. I'm taking up a parking space that another vehicle could use. And so yeah. That was a spiel. Oh, awesome. Hopefully there'll be a Christmas meetup this year. Let us pray that the borders open soon. um all right, I'm doing a quick scan because I'm about to wrap this up. I'm sorry if I did not get to your question. What I might do is go through here and words. I'll go through here and and see if there's any questions that I that's worth pulling to maybe address in a different video. So yeah. I think it's time to wrap this up because it's been almost 2 hours. Hopefully I answered a lot of the big questions. I really appreciate you guys logging in. Oh wow. appreciate that I actually have a following on YouTube. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of speechless about the whole situation. The fact that my life right now is like what it is. Like, I got gifted a van. Like, people are supporting me on Patreon. People, like, I don't know. Like, the fact that this channel is what it is right now is still so much for me. And sometimes, like, when things get too much, my response is actually a shutdown. And I think I had an initial shutdown at a certain point because it was like, this isn't gonna last. This isn't gonna go away. People are gonna, like, realize, like, they've made a big mistake. And even with the van initially, like, I was just waiting for something to be massively wrong with it, because I was like, there's no way that somebody actually liked my channel enough to want to give me such a gift. Like, it seems insane to me. Beautiful, and I'd love to be able to be that type of person at some point. And so it's a lot, and I'm still blown away by it. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Prioritize yourselves. Whatever feels healthy and good for you, please continue doing it, and stay safe during COVID, and take care of yourself, your family. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video, which, don't get confused, because that video is still back in Nevada. Also, I have a very special video coming out on Sunday. Spoiler alert. I was given a Jackery. That was another thing I was picking up here in Denver. So Jackery asked me to review their product. All right. I gotta go. See you guys later.